All right. So maybe so. Hello, everyone. Good evening, Arizona. It's Natasha here. Just wanted to take a minute, go in a few minutes early, give everyone an opportunity to dive into tonight's webinar. Avoid these costly mistakes in Arizona home buyer webinar, really. All right. And just curious what you folks are hearing about the Arizona real estate market. Just wanted to dispel some myths tonight. So if you want to post some things in the chat, by all means, feel free. I am open to your real estate comments. Awesome. You heard that prices are going to crash. Well, we'll touch on that a little bit. All right. You heard there's no homes for first-time home buyer. It's better to rent. Okay. All right. We'll talk about that a little bit too. Okay. Well, what can I say? Let the fun begin. Let's make sure everything is as it should be here. We're streaming, we're on. You guys are looking at my screen, not looking at me. Okay, great. Great. The real estate questions. Awesome. Well, without further ado, I think timer we have here. A few seconds, just a few seconds to let people roll in here. And we'll get the show on the road. I understand some folks may be driving, and if you are, please don't text and drive. But I do appreciate you putting the sound up and listening to what I have to share with you this evening. All right, here we go. 7 o'clock on the dot. Great. Well, peeps, I just wanted to welcome you to tonight's webinar, which is Avoid These Costly Mistakes in Arizona Homebuyers class. I am Natasha Tomlinson, a realtor licensed in Arizona since 2005, and I've helped countless homebuyers and home sellers navigate the Arizona real estate market. Tonight, I'm here to share some critical insights with you. Over the next 45 minutes, we'll cover common mistakes that homebuyers make and how to avoid them. And then we'll wrap up with a Q&A session at the end. All right, so let's dive in. First off, I wanted to tell you that many people believed that mortgage rates would go down after the Federal Reserve cut the Fed funds rate 3 weeks ago. And many people, well, they have been wrong so far. Last Friday's job report really suggested that the United States economy was stronger than was anticipated, and that added more upward movement to mortgage rates. So mortgage rates actually went up a tick after that Fed funds rate cut, right? So we're seeing higher rates than we have in the previous 2 months. But we're also seeing more active supply, a little bit more available houses for sale on the market as well. So for home buyers, there is more for them to look at, more to choose from. The general picture of the Arizona real estate market, the greater Phoenix real estate market, is that we're seeing a low number of sales, low number of closings. homes being sold, but that pricing is remaining stable. So overall, we're looking at the volume, the number of homes that are being sold to improve a bit, probably after the election, and for prices to remain stable over time. All right. That is the idea. If you're looking to purchase today and really have a buy and hold mentality, we are suggesting that you hold that property, say 3 years, which, I mean, if you've moved recently, moving is quite an undertaking. So moving more frequently than that, I mean, people do it all the time, but it is cumbersome and it does become costly, right? We all have stuff, right? And to move that stuff from one place to the other, it takes a lot, and it takes a lot out of you. So just keep that in mind when you're out there looking, that you find something that is going to work for you and your loved ones, if that makes sense, for a few years time. All right. So again, today we are diving into the most critical mistakes that home buyers make. All right. And we're going to start with mistake number one. Why not, right? Mistake number one would be counting yourself out. All right. Now, this mistake, it really is heartbreaking because it stops people from even trying to achieve their dream of home ownership, the dream that they have for their home, for themselves, and for their loved ones. So let's break down some common misconceptions and shed a little light on the reality of home buying qualifications. First, let's talk about the thing that most people don't want to talk about. We'll talk about credit scores. Now, many people believe they need a absolutely perfect, pristine credit score in order to purchase a home. I've had past clients tell me, listen, Natasha, my credit, it's not perfect, so I couldn't possibly qualify for a mortgage. But here's the truth. While a higher score can certainly get you better interest rates on your home loan, you can often qualify for a mortgage with a score as low as 620, sometimes 580, and in certain cases, even lower than that. All right. So now let's chat a little bit about the debt myth. I often hear potential home buyers worry about their medical debts, student loans, car payments. They assume that any debt automatically disqualifies them from qualifying for a home loan. In reality, it's more about your debt to income ratio than the absolute amount of debt that you carry. Lenders typically look at the ratio, the debt to income ratio, and there are certain programs that are available for higher ratios or lower ratios. So don't count yourself out. Don't let those student loans, that medical debt, those car payments stop you from exploring your options. The third huge misconception is about income. I can't tell you how many times I hear people say, listen, I don't make enough to be able to buy a home. But here's the thing. There's no set income requirement for buying real estate. It's about how your income relates to the house, the price of the home, that relates to your other debts. Plus, there are programs designed specifically for low to moderate income buyers. You might be surprised at what you can afford. So what's the reality of home buying qualifications? Look, the truth is they're much more flexible than most people think that they are. Lenders look at your overall financial picture. They look again at your debt, your credit, your income, any assets that you may have, your employment history. They take a holistic view, not just one magic number that determines everything in the real estate world. Let me give you a little example here. I worked with a young couple who thought that they couldn't possibly buy a property because of their student loan debt. They almost gave up even starting the process. But when we sat down and looked at their entire financial picture, we found that they actually qualified for a first-time homebuyer program. They're now happily settled in their new home, building equity instead of paying rent. Now, this brings me to my next point, the importance of getting accurate, up to date information. All right? Really. um the home buying process, it's always changing a bit. There are new programs and new guidelines coming available, new options that become available all the time. So what was true 5 years ago or even last year may not be the case today. All right, enough about that. Let's hop over to mistake number 2, shall we? Mistake number 2 would be not taking advantage of these home buyer programs. This is huge. Arizona offers several fantastic programs designed specifically to help you get into your first home, and missing out on this could cost you thousands of dollars. There are down payment assistance programs that are specific to certain areas, certain locations. There are some that are dependent on income, and others that may require you to stay in the property for a few years. Some offer 100% financing. So don't leave money on the table. All right. Let's hop on over to mistake number 3. Now, I don't want you to misinterpret what I'm saying here. So, mistake number 3 is getting sucked into the building's marketing machine. Now, in the greater Phoenix area, new home construction, there's plenty to choose from. And what we're talking about here are some tactics that some new home builders use to reel you in. There are some fantastic deals out there for the new home builders that we can certainly talk about during a home buying presentation. But what we want you to really understand is that they are using some marketing strategies, and we want you to make an informed decision. So first, there is the model home trap. Builders showcase their model homes with all the bells and whistles, upgrades, finishes, premium appliances, professional staging. Really, it is designed to make you absolutely fall in love with that property. But remember, what you see isn't always what you get at the base price, right? Another tactic is the urgency play. You might hear things like, listen, this is the last lot in the community, or prices are going up next week, so you better take this one. And while sometimes that may be true, this is often a sales tactic to push you into making a quick decision. Builders often have preferred lenders. They might offer incentives for using their lender, like closing cost credits or money towards upgrades. And these can sound great, and sometimes they are, but it's important for you to shop around and ensure that you're getting the best overall deal. And lastly, watch out for the upgrade upsell. Once you're emotionally invested in this property, it's easy to justify upgrades that can quickly blow your budget. All right, let's hop on over to mistake number 4. Right. Which would be skipping the home inspection period, skipping that due diligence period. Right. Skipping the home inspection period is like buying a car without looking under the hood. Everything may look absolutely fantastic on the outside, but you could be in for some expensive surprises down the road. And let me explain why a home inspection are so vital in the home buying process. First and foremost, a home inspection gives you an unbiased professional assessment of a property's overall condition. It is your chance to really understand what you're buying beyond what meets the eye. It is crucial whether you are buying a brand new build or charming 1920s bungalow to get that home inspection. Secondly, the home inspection period, it gives you leverage. If significant issues are uncovered, you have the opportunity to negotiate repairs, price reductions, or even walk away if the problems are huge deal makers. Now, without an inspection, you're essentially agreeing to buy the home as is, warts and all. All right. Lastly, a good home inspection, it can save you money in the long run. It can identify potential issues before they become major problems, which allows you to budget for future repairs and maintenance. Now, let's talk about what a standard home inspection covers. It covers critical elements like the foundation, walls, ceilings, and the roof. It does an exterior evaluation, looking at the garages and drainage and the grading, make sure the soil, and if there's rain in Arizona and the water is flowing away from the foundation. The inspector will look at the roof and the attic, look for any possible leaks, proper insulation and ventilation of those areas. Look at the plumbing systems, which covers the pipes, drains, water heating, and water pressure. The inspector will take a look at electrical systems and check all the visible wiring, service panels, breakers, and fuses. They'll take a look at the HVAC system. Heating, cooling, ductwork are all examined. The interior walls, floors, windows, doors, and stairs, if there are stairs. Take a look at the ventilation. Bathroom and kitchen vents are checked properly. Look at the fireplace if there is one, appliances if they're present. Now remember, while it is comprehensive, a standard home inspection, it doesn't cover everything. And depending on the property, you may want to consider some additional specialized inspections, like a pest or termite inspection, mold inspection, radon testing, chimney inspections if there's a fireplace, pool and spa inspections if there's a pool or spa, asbestos testing for older homes. Well, let's go into a quick little story here. All right, how an inspection saved one of my past clients thousands of dollars. We were working with this couple buying their first home, and they were buying a 1960s ranch. The home, it looks great, but our inspector discovered significant issues with the electrical system. It wasn't up to code, and it posed a serious safety risk. Now, armed with this information, we were able to negotiate a reduction in price to cover the cost of updating the electrical system. Now, without that inspection, my clients would have been on the hook for those repairs themselves. Home inspections can also help you plan for future expenses. Maybe the roof is nearing the end of its life, or the water heater is showing signs of age. This information allows you to budget accordingly and avoid surprise expenses down the road. Now, don't forget about the peace of mind factor. Knowing that your potential new home has been thoroughly examined by a professional can help you feel more confident in your purchase decision. So let's transition to your next mistake. All right. Next mistake would be not thoroughly researching the neighborhood. That's right. I don't know why this thing. Okay. Yeah. All right. Not thoroughly inspecting the neighborhood. And someone would say, okay, well, why is that so important? Remember, you're not just buying a home, you're not just buying the structure, you're buying into a community. And the neighborhood can have a humongous effect on the quality of life and your property's future value. So why is neighborhood research so important? Number one, it ensures that the area aligns with your needs and your lifestyle. The neighborhood that's perfect for a young professional might not be ideal for a family with school-age children. Also, understanding the neighborhood helps you kind of gauge the potential appreciation. Is the area up and coming? Are there plans for new amenities or developments that could increase the property value? Is there new employment options coming to this area? Lastly, Researching this area can uncover potential issues that might not be apparent during a brief visit. Maybe the quiet street becomes a major thoroughfare during rush hour, or perhaps there's a history of flooding in that area. So, you may ask, okay, all right, so I need to research the neighborhood as well as look over the house. What should I consider? What are some key factors? And one, I would say, take a look at the schools. Even if you don't have children, you don't intend on having children, school quality can significantly impact a property's value. Look at the crime rates, look at the current crime statistics and the trends over time. And when you compare the crime rate of your new area, look at your current area as well, because crime is everywhere. Take a look at future development plans for new shopping centers, parks, amenities, new commercial projects, new employers that are coming to that area. What about transportation? Consider your commute times, consider public transit options, consider the walkability to other amenities in the community. And as far as amenities, what is the proximity to shopping, restaurants, parks, and facilities that really matter to you? Property values. Look at the historical trends and the future projections. Natural hazards. Is this area prone to wildfires, flooding, or other natural disasters, sinkholes, something along those lines? Take a look at the HOA and the CC&Rs, the covenants, conditions, restrictions, and we'll come back to that later on in tonight's webinar. Consider the noise level. Visit the neighborhood at different times of day to get a true sense of the noise level in that community. What is the community vibe? Does the neighborhood feel like a place where you'd fit in and be comfortable? Where can you find all of this information? Well, here are some valuable resources. You can take a look at government websites, and they often provide information on zoning and future development plans, public services. Take a look at the school district websites as well for detailed information on local schools. You can check out sites like crimereports.com. They can show you detailed crime statistics for an area. Take a look at the walk score, walkability, transit, and bike friendliness. Always consider the local news sources as well for a better understanding of the current events in that area and the future plans in that area. Check out social media. There are a number of neighborhood Facebook groups. Nextdoor is also a good resource to get a sense of the community dynamics. Also consider looking at the FEMA flood maps, which are essential for understanding your flood risks. And you can always chat with your realtor, who has access to a wealth of data and local knowledge that can be invaluable in your research. So now let's dive in to mistake number 5. As I mentioned earlier, we will talk about this. Mistake number 5 is skipping the HOA document review. Now, this is a really important step that many home buyers overlook, and they often regret that decision. Let's talk a little bit about what is HOA. What are all these acronyms, Natasha? What does HOA stand for? HOA is your homeowners association. The homeowners association is an organization in many communities that makes and enforces the rules for the properties and residents of that community. And in Arizona, HOAs they're really common, especially in newer developments. Now, why are reviewing these documents so crucial? Well, like we said earlier, when you're buying a property, you're not just buying that property, you're not just buying in that town, in that neighborhood, you're buying in that homeowners association, and you're entering into an agreement of sorts with that homeowners association. And that agreement can affect everything from what color you paint your home to whether you can park an RV in a driveway to what type of breed of pet you can have, the number of pets you can have, and whether you can have pets at all. Skipping the HOA document review is like signing an agreement without reading it. You may be agreeing to rules and financial obligations that you're not aware of, and that could significantly impact your lifestyle and your overall budget. So, okay, let's break down what are in these HOA documents. Typically, what are in these documents? Well, you have the CC&Rs, covenants, conditions, and restrictions. They're the main governing document, and it really outlines the rules of the community, covering things like the architectural controls, pet policies, use of common areas. There are also bylaws, and it talks about the board members, how many there are, how they're elected, how meetings are conducted. You have the Articles of Incorporation, which is a legal document establishing the HOA as a corporate entity. There are rules and regulations and goes over more detailed day-to-day rules that complement the covenants, conditions, and restrictions. In there, you'll find financial documents, and these include the current budget for the homeowners association so that you know what money they're working with to upkeep the community, the reserve study, and if there are any planned special assessments. It includes meeting minutes, and these can give you insight into any current issues in the community and how the board operates. There may be a newsletter or other community updates, and that can give you a sense of the culture and recent developments. Now, when reviewing these documents, because I know that was a mouthful, but when you're reviewing these documents, let's focus on some key areas. Look at the financial health, look at the budget and the reserve fund. Is the HOA financially stable? Are there enough reserves available for major repairs and replacements? What is the fee structure? What are the current HOA fees? What do they cover? And how often do they increase? Are there any special assessments planned? Is there anything in the works for any major projects, unexpected expenses? Now, pay close attention to the rules and regulations of that community and how that affects your lifestyle. What is your intention for this property? Do you intend to live in this property for the next coming years? If so, great. Do the rules and regulations work for you? Or do you intend to live there for a year or two and then keep it as a rental? Does that community allow rentals? Are there restrictions on how long those rental periods can be? Can you rent by the day, 30 days, 6-month minimums, 1-year minimums? Are there pet restrictions? Do they allow home businesses? As far as architectural controls, understand what changes you can make to a property and what the HOA approval process looks like. What amenities does the HOA provide, and are they well maintained? The management, is the HOA professionally managed, or is someone in the community managing the HOA? And how effectively does it operate? Take a look at the insurance. If you're getting a loan, they'll be particularly interested in this, in the master policy and what that uncovers, what the HOA is responsible for insuring and what you're responsible for insuring. Is there any current litigation, any ongoing legal issues? What about violations and fines? Understand the process for rules violations and associated fines. Take the time to review the homeowners association documents thoroughly. That can really benefit you in several ways. All right. And what are those ways? It can help you avoid surprises. You'll know exactly what you're getting into before you buy. It can help you budget accordingly and understand all the potential costs. Helps you determine if the property truly fits your budget. Is it a fit for your lifestyle? Can you ensure the community rules align with your lifestyle and plans for the property? What about future planning and understanding planned improvements and changes can help you anticipate how the community may evolve over time? And again, it gives you peace of mind. Knowing you've done your due diligence can make you more confident in your purchasing decision. Well, peeps, we've covered a lot of ground in tonight's webinar. avoiding these costly mistakes, for a home buyers webinar. So let's recap quickly the 5 crucial mistakes that we discussed today. We discussed counting yourself out, right? We discussed not taking advantage of home buyer programs. That's a big one. Let's not leave money on the table. Let's not do that, right? We discussed getting sucked into the new home builders machine, not being aware that there may be opportunities at the new home builder, but really have an idea of what you're looking at and what you are getting for your money and what those upgrades cost, and whether that is something that you would like to do yourself or at a later date. Another takeaway would be skipping or waiving the home inspection period. No. Or skipping the homeowner association, the document review. Each of these mistakes can cost you time, money, and a whole lot of stress. Now, armed with the knowledge that we shared here today, you're already ahead of the game. So again, takeaways from today's session are: don't assume that you cannot buy a home. Get the facts first, all right? Explore all available programs and resources available for home buyers today. Approach new construction with your eyes wide open and a critical mindset. Always, always, always get a professional home inspection. Thoroughly review the homeowner's document, the HOA documents, before committing to a purchase, if there is a homeowners association. And remember that buying a home, it's a journey. It's okay to take it one step at a time. The goal isn't just to buy property, it's to find the right home for you at the right price in the right location. So what's next, right? What's next? Where do we go from here? Well, if you're interested, you can certainly schedule a free consultation with me, and we'll discuss your specific situation and create a personalized home buying strategy. We'll talk a little bit about today's market, what opportunities exist in today's market, and whether this is the right time for you to take advantage. We'll start researching home buyer programs, down payment assistance programs, if that's applicable to you here in Arizona, and give you a list of resources to get you started. So feel free to share this information with friends or family who may be considering purchasing real estate in the near future. Remember, as corny as it may be, knowledge is power. And the more informed buyers that we have in our marketplace, the healthier our real estate market will be overall. Folks, thank you so much for chiming in tonight. I truly appreciate your time. I understand that there's a lot of other things that you could be doing. So I hope that you certainly found this information helpful. And here's my contact information. If you have any real estate related questions, feel free to reach out to me on any of the social media channels. My number is provided there. You can certainly contact me there. Chatting with me is free. All right. So I am a phone call away. You can schedule a bit of a strategy session, understand what your concerns are, address some of your questions, your initial questions. And then as the process continues, you'll have more questions and we'll talk some more. All right. Again, thank you for chiming in tonight. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe. And I hope you're staying cool, Arizona. All right. Ta-ta for now.